Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt something shift, like the world around you faded, and in that moment, only the two of you existed? That kind of connection isn't a coincidence. It's a signal. And most people miss it. Not because the signs aren't there, but because they've stopped trusting themselves to see them. We live in a world where second-guessing is the default, where we're taught to suppress instinct, to analyze instead of feel. But when it comes to intimacy, real, electric, soul-deep intimacy, analysis kills connection. You don't calculate your way into those moments. You sense your way in. The truth is, most men walk through life blind to the very things they crave. They long for closeness, touch, warmth, intimacy. But they've been trained to either ignore the signals or fear misreading them. That hesitation becomes a wall that separates them from what they want most. Because intimacy doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't beg, it invites. And if you're not emotionally awake, you'll walk right past the door she left open for you. You'll talk yourself out of it. You'll call it a coincidence. You'll pretend you didn't notice. And later, in the silence of your own mind, you'll regret the moment that could have changed everything. But it doesn't have to be that way. You don't need tricks. You don't need cheesy lines or manipulation. What you need is presence, awareness, a willingness to step into the unknown with clarity and confidence. Because the man who can read the room, who can read her without fear or desperation, holds the rarest kind of power, not dominance, not control, but understanding. And understanding creates safety. Safety creates trust. And trust opens doors no technique ever could. This video isn't about playing games. It's not about turning human connection into strategy. It's about waking you up to what you already feel, but have been taught to doubt. Because when a woman wants intimacy, her body, her energy, her eyes will show you. Not in obvious, cartoonish ways, but in subtle, layered, powerful ways. The kind of signs that bypass logic and go straight to your gut. But only if you're paying attention. Every second you stay in this video, you'll learn to decode those moments. You'll understand what she's really saying when her voice softens, when she stays a little longer, when she touches your arm and looks away. You'll learn the art of emotional attunement. And when you do, everything changes, not just with women, but with yourself. Because when you trust your read on others, you start trusting yourself. And that's the root of true masculine presence. Stay with me. Because what you'll learn here isn't just about intimacy, it's about becoming the man who doesn't miss life's most important signals. The man who sees what others ignore. The man who moves through the world not chasing connection, but drawing it to him, naturally, effortlessly, and with quiet power. Most men aren't blind, they're just disconnected. Disconnected from their instincts, their emotions, and the language of subtle energy that women use to communicate what words never fully capture. The signs of intimacy aren't hidden, they're unspoken. And if you're numb to your own feelings, you'll be deaf to hers. Because the signs don't appear in neon lights. They live in the space between words, in pauses, in tension, in glances held just a moment too long. And unless you're fully present, you'll miss the invitation that's quietly being extended. But here's what changes everything. Awareness. Awareness rewires the way you see the world. It sharpens your emotional vision. It tunes you into the frequency where truth is always being broadcast, even when lips stay silent. Most men walk into situations with noise in their heads, overthinking, doubting, calculating their worth, wondering what to say, how to act, when to move. And in that internal storm, they lose touch with the moment. They miss the signals because they're not even there. They're lost in their own minds. But the man who silences that noise, the one who stands grounded, who breathes deeply, who observes without fear, sees everything. He doesn't chase approval. He notices alignment. He doesn't force attraction. He recognizes resonance. When a woman is open to intimacy, her energy shifts, her body softens, her eyes stay on you a beat longer, her laughter comes easier, her space invites you in without words. These things are real. They're happening all around you. But they're not available to the distracted. They're reserved for the emotionally awake. Because when she feels your presence, not just your attention, but your still, confident, grounded presence, she relaxes. And when she relaxes, the signals multiply. She starts to trust you without needing a reason. Her guard lowers, not because of what you say, but because of how you make her feel. And what she feels is that you're not here to take, you're here to see her. The power you're looking for has nothing to do with performance. It lives in perception. You don't need more tactics, you need more stillness, more depth, more emotional precision. Because the more clearly you see her, the more clearly you understand what she wants, what she fears, what she's hoping you'll notice. And when she feels seen, without being judged, without being pressured, something inside her begins to open. She doesn't have to say she wants intimacy. Her energy will speak for her, but only if you're quiet enough inside to hear it. This is your edge, not in being louder, faster, or smoother, but in being aware. When you walk through the world tuned in, you stop stumbling in the dark. You stop hoping for connection and start recognizing it when it's right in front of you. That's the beginning of real power. Not just with women, but with yourself. Stay connected, stay sharp, because every moment you're awake, you become the kind of man who never misses what matters most. There's a reason some men walk into a room and feel invisible, while others walk in and awaken something unspoken. It has nothing to do with looks or status. It has everything to do with presence. Women don't respond to surface. They respond to depth. And when a man can stay grounded in the fire of his own emotions without flinching, she feels it. That's when her defenses begin to fall. That's when her signals begin to emerge, not because she's trying to seduce, but because she feels safe enough to let herself be seen. And that safety doesn't come from playing it cool. It comes from authenticity, from clarity, from quiet inner certainty. The most electrifying moments are born from silence, not words, from connection, not control. When a woman holds eye contact with you and you don't look away, don't shrink, don't overthink. You tell her everything she needs to know without speaking. You say, I see you, and I'm not afraid of what I see. That kind of gaze strips away doubt. It invites her to feel. And when she feels, attraction turns into magnetism. Desire takes shape in those seconds of still unbroken attention. But to hold that gaze, you must hold yourself. You must stay rooted in your body, not escape into your head. You must stay connected to your breath, your heartbeat, your truth, because intimacy begins when performance ends. When you stop trying to impress and start simply being, that's when she can sense what's real. The prolonged eye contact that feels electric isn't just a visual cue, it's the doorway to unspoken permission. She doesn't have to say a word. Her pupils widen, her expression softens, her body leans in slightly. Time stretches. The world fades. That's not fantasy. It's biology reacting to emotional safety and mutual interest. It's a dance of energy, and most people step right over it because they're looking for something louder, more obvious. But the strongest signals are often the quietest, and only those who've mastered their inner world can hear them. This is where emotional strength separates the average from the extraordinary. To recognize these moments, you must slow down. You must breathe deeper than your fear. You must let go of needing proof, and instead allow yourself to feel what's being offered. The invitation won't come with flashing signs. It'll arrive in a glance, in a breath, in the feeling that something sacred is unfolding. And if you're not present, you'll miss it. Not because she hid it, but because you weren't ready to receive it. Train your eyes to see beyond the obvious. Train your body to stay calm in the presence of heat. Train your soul to recognize truth without explanation. Because once you can hold eye contact without flinching, you won't just notice the signs. You'll become the man they're directed at. The man who doesn't chase intimacy, but stands still and draws it in, without force, without doubt, and without apology. That is real power. And it begins with a single look held with unwavering presence. When she touches you and it doesn't feel like an accident, you are no longer guessing, you're being invited. Not through words, but through sensation. A hand on your arm, a brush across your chest, a lingering press of her fingers. These aren't random. They're deliberate, and they come from a place deeper than thought. Her body is speaking before her mouth ever will. But to hear what it's saying, you must stop interpreting everything through logic. Logic dulls intimacy. It tries to box in something wild, something fluid. And desire was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be felt. A woman's touch, when she feels drawn to you, carries a softness that vibrates through your skin. It's not casual, it's not accidental. It's warm, intentional, and often fleeting, but powerful. It's a test and a gift all at once. She wants to know if you're alive enough to notice, if you're emotionally grounded enough to receive, if you're still enough inside to recognize her signal without corrupting it with neediness or assumption. Most men feel that touch and react too fast, either by jumping in too soon or shrinking in hesitation. Both are mistakes, because what she's giving you is not a command. It's a cue, an opening, and only presence can meet it properly. You don't need to ask yourself 1,000 questions. You need to feel. You need to be in your body enough to sense her energy. Not just the physical contact, but the space around it. The way her body lingers just slightly closer. The way her fingers trace rather than simply rest. The way she initiates that connection without explanation. These are not random moments. They are intimacy expressing itself before permission has been spoken. And it takes a certain kind of man to honor them, not exploit, not ignore, but honor. Touch is her risk. It's her revealing that the space between you matters, that the wall is thinning, that closeness is no longer neutral. And if you're truly awake, that one touch can say more than an entire conversation. But to feel the full message, you must stay calm. You must not chase the moment. You must be the moment. Solid, steady, present. When she touches you, and your energy doesn't spike with insecurity or arrogance, you show her she's safe to go further. Because it's not about reacting, it's about receiving. And when you receive with awareness, she feels it. This is where the dance deepens, where subtle contact becomes emotional permission, where silence becomes agreement, and where your restraint becomes the very thing that pulls her closer. The man who understands this no longer waits for validation. He simply watches, feels, and aligns. Because the truth is always there, in her hands, in her energy, in the pauses she chooses not to break. And when you finally see it, you'll understand that intimacy doesn't knock. It brushes past you softly, waiting for you to notice. And when you do, everything changes. When she starts moving closer without hesitation, something deeper is unfolding. Physical distance is never just about space. It reflects where she feels emotionally safe. When a woman leans in, steps into your personal zone, or finds a reason to be near you again and again, she is speaking in a language most men have forgotten how to hear. Her body is telling you, I'm open. I trust this moment. I want to feel more. That proximity isn't random. It's the physical expression of emotional permission. But it's quiet, subtle, and if your mind is too noisy, you'll never register its power. This shift doesn't shout, it hums. It shows up in the way she stands a little closer than necessary, how her knees angle toward yours, how she doesn't step back when you do. In these moments, she's not just adjusting her body, she's dissolving the invisible wall that keeps most people at arm's length. And if you're grounded enough, if you're present enough, you'll feel the tension in the air change. It gets softer, heavier, charged, like something important is about to happen. That's not imagination, that's energy. That's unspoken desire looking for a home. You don't move into that space to conquer it. You hold your presence and allow it to unfold. Because true attraction isn't about taking, it's about allowing. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't chase closeness, but becomes a safe place for it to arrive. The more still you are inside, the more magnetically you draw her in. She doesn't need to be convinced. She needs to be felt. And when she feels that your energy welcomes hers without pressure, without expectation, without fear, she moves closer on her own. This is what makes the difference between surface-level attraction and real connection. The space between bodies is more than physical. It's emotional terrain. And when she enters it, you must meet her with strength, not strategy. Let her feel the calm in your posture, the steadiness in your breath, the confidence that doesn't demand anything from her. That's when the moment deepens. That's when presence becomes chemistry. Because closeness isn't just about where her feet are, it's about how safe her heart feels next to yours. Many men will never experience this kind of connection because they've never learned to stay still when desire enters the room. They either shrink or pursue. But the man who holds his center becomes unforgettable. He lets intimacy come to him. He lets energy move as it wants. And in doing so, he becomes the gravity that pulls her in. So when she closes the distance, let her. Don't question it. Don't ruin it with doubt. Just notice, feel, stay grounded, because she's not stepping into your space by accident. She's responding to the signal you've already sent, the silent message that says, you are safe here, you are seen here, you are welcome here. And that, more than anything, is where intimacy begins. When her voice softens and slows down, everything changes. She's not just speaking anymore, she's inviting you to listen with more than your ears. That change in tone isn't casual, it's instinctive. It's a shift from surface to depth, from guarded to open. Her words may still be light, but her delivery is drenched in vulnerability. And if you're awake, you'll feel it before you even register what she's saying, because energy doesn't lie. And when her voice lowers, it's not volume that changes, it's intention. This softness is a bridge. It's her way of closing the emotional gap without saying so directly. The pitch becomes gentler. The cadence slows. Her words linger in the air a little longer, as if she's giving you space to really hear them. That's not hesitation. It's intimacy forming in real time. Most people talk to be heard. But when she shifts into this frequency, she's no longer trying to be understood by the world. She's speaking to you. And that connection is fragile, powerful, and sacred. Only a grounded man can receive it fully. If you rush in with noise, if you interrupt, overtalk, or try to match her softness with performance, you shatter the moment. Because what she's giving you isn't content. It's closeness. She's testing the waters. Not with logic, but with feeling. Her softness is not weakness, it's a risk. A subtle test to see if you can hold space for the real her, not just the version the world sees. And if you're distracted, if your presence is shallow, you'll miss the quiet invitation she just offered you. In that moment, your job is simple. Feel more. Say less. Let the quiet stretch. Let her words hang in the air. Let her tone guide you into deeper awareness. You don't need to impress her with the perfect response. You need to feel what she's saying beneath the surface. The meaning is rarely in the words themselves. It's in the energy behind them, in the way her voice dips, in the breath she takes between sentences, in the silence she lets linger. That's where intimacy lives. This is how women reveal interest, not always with bold declarations, but with softness that dares you to slow down and meet her there. And when you do, when you mirror her pace without losing your center, she relaxes. She leans in emotionally, because you've proven that you're not here to dominate the moment. You're here to share it. Her softened voice is a sign that the walls are lowering, that the armor is being set down. And if you treat that with respect, you create a space where real connection can grow. Don't rush it, don't question it, just feel it. Stay still, stay grounded. Let her feel your presence in your silence, in your eyes, in your calm. Because when her voice softens, she's not just talking, she's trusting. And trust is always the first step towards something more. When she starts mirroring your movements, she's aligning with more than just your posture. She's syncing with your energy. This is not imitation. It's resonance. At a subconscious level, her body begins to echo yours when she feels emotionally safe, when there's connection, when there's trust forming without force. She adjusts her tone to match yours. Her rhythm begins to reflect your rhythm. Her gestures slowly begin to mirror yours, not because she's thinking about it, but because her nervous system is responding to presence. And presence, when it's strong and grounded, becomes magnetic. Most men never notice this because they're too caught up in their own performance. They're thinking about what to say next, how to appear confident, how to hold the frame. But all of that fades when you become deeply present. When your energy becomes still and clear, it creates a kind of emotional gravity. And when a woman feels that, she starts to fall into sync with it, not because you're controlling her, but because she feels pulled toward the stability you offer. Her mirroring is not about approval, it's about comfort. She's telling you with her body that she feels aligned, that her guard is softening, that she wants to feel more of the connection you've created. This is where emotional intelligence becomes everything. You must notice without reacting. You must feel without needing. Because the moment you begin to chase the sign, you kill the moment. But if you observe it with calm awareness, if you recognize it as a signal of mutual openness, the connection deepens effortlessly. It's not about making a move. It's about holding the energy that invited her into alignment in the first place. Her mirroring is the beginning of a nonverbal conversation, one where the exchange happens through energy, not explanation. And if you're truly tuned in, you'll respond in the same language, not by copying her movements, but by staying emotionally congruent, staying in your center, holding the space that she's now entering with you. Because she's not asking for entertainment, she's asking for depth. Her body is leaning in toward the calm in yours. Her gestures are beginning to flow with the rhythm you've established. Her expressions begin to match your tone. This isn't manipulation, this is biology. This is chemistry working through stillness. Let her match your pace. Let her follow your lead, not because you're forcing it, but because she wants to. And she only wants to when she feels your presence as steady and non-demanding. Her body, her breath, her motion, all are responding to something deeper than logic. They're responding to safety, to clarity, to the unshakable calm that says you don't need to protect yourself here. That's what opens her. That's what keeps her close. Not your words, not your charm, but your emotional precision. When she mirrors you, she's not just following your movements. She's telling you, without a single word, that the wall between you is thinning, and if you can see that, you'll never mistake distance for disinterest again. When a woman starts opening up about how she feels, she's not just sharing emotions, she's extending trust. Emotion is vulnerability exposed. It's the raw truth of who she is beneath the surface. And when she gives you access to that inner world, it's never casual. It's a signal that something within her wants to connect more deeply. Most men hear emotion and treat it as a problem to solve or a topic to avoid. But the man who listens with presence, without judgment, becomes rare, desired, magnetic, because he's not just hearing her, he's receiving her. Emotional sharing is not a test of intellect. It's a test of safety. She wants to know if you can handle her without needing to fix her, if you can stay still while she unravels, even slightly, if you can hold the weight of her honesty without making it about yourself. When a woman begins to speak from her emotional center, when she tells you what makes her anxious, what excites her, what she dreams of, or what scares her, she's not just talking. She's showing you that the wall is coming down, that your presence has made her feel seen enough to let go of the mask. And this is where everything shifts. Because real intimacy isn't born from physical closeness. It's born from emotional courage. The courage to reveal, to be real, to show the parts most people never get to see. If you respond to that with presence, if you listen without rushing to interrupt, if you validate without trying to control, you create something rare. You create emotional oxygen. And in that space, she breathes differently. Her nervous system relaxes, her voice softens, her eyes linger. Because you've shown her something more powerful than attraction. You've shown her acceptance. This is where depth separates the surface from the profound. If you can hold a woman emotionally, you will never need to impress her. She will be drawn to you in a way she can't fully explain. Because women don't remember the man who entertained them. They remember the man who made them feel understood. The one who didn't flinch when she got real. The one who made her feel like her feelings weren't too much, weren't a burden, weren't something to hide. And once she feels that, once she realizes you can meet her in that space without fear or impatience, intimacy stops being a question. It starts becoming inevitable. So when she speaks from the heart, don't analyze, don't retreat, don't perform. Just be there, fully. Let your silence tell her she's safe. Let your stillness show her you're strong enough to hold space. Because when she talks about how she feels, she's offering you the doorway to something deeper than attraction. She's inviting you into her inner world. And how you respond in that moment will define everything that comes after. When she starts complimenting you in ways that feel personal, she's not just being polite. She's revealing attraction through precision. Compliments that go beyond the obvious carry emotional weight. It's not about generic words like nice or cool. It's when she notices something deeper, something most don't see, and chooses to highlight it. When she points out your voice, your scent, the way you make people feel, or the calm in your presence, she's not observing, she's admiring. And admiration from a woman, when it's specific and felt, is always a sign of intimacy preparing to bloom. She won't always be direct, but the language of interest is layered. It doesn't come dressed in bold declarations. It comes wrapped in appreciation. When she compliments your energy, your eyes, your confidence, or even your silence, she's responding to more than your appearance. She's responding to how you affect her. Those details are her way of showing you that she's paying attention, that you've made an impact. And when a woman is emotionally drawn to you, her focus narrows. She begins to see things about you that others overlook. She becomes attuned. And in those moments, her compliments stop being casual. They become personal clues. This is where you must be grounded enough to hear what's not being said. A woman doesn't need to announce her desire. She expresses it in ways that are emotionally intelligent, subtly woven into her words. When she admires you, it's because she's already imagined closeness. She's already entertained the idea of more. Her praise is a reflection of internal curiosity. And if you can receive it without deflecting, without turning it into a joke, you show her something powerful. You show her you're secure, that you can hold appreciation without needing to explain it away. This is a rare strength. Most men get awkward when truly seen. They don't know how to receive praise because they've been taught to downplay themselves. But when you own your worth silently, when you accept her compliments with steady eyes and a grateful nod, you become the kind of man who affirms her feelings just by existing fully. She compliments you because she wants to see your response. She wants to know that what she sees is real, that her attraction is valid, that her intuition isn't lying to her. And if you respond with emotional stability, with calm appreciation, she feels more drawn in. Let her words land. Let them echo. Let them reinforce your own inner knowing. Because when a woman compliments something unique about you, she's not just offering kindness, she's offering connection. She's telling you that you've touched something within her. And how you hold that moment will either deepen the spark or dim it. So don't brush it off. Don't minimize it. Stand in it. Let her feel that you already knew who you are, and her words only confirmed it. Because when a woman speaks with admiration, she's not seeking validation. She's signaling readiness. Readiness to go deeper. There are signals the body gives that no words could ever match. When her pupils dilate in your presence, when her breathing becomes slower or subtly heavier, when she shifts her posture toward you without thinking. It's not performance, it's biology speaking the truth her mind might still be catching up to. These signs don't lie. They can't be faked. The body responds to what it craves before the brain has time to create a story. And when you know how to notice them, you unlock a level of awareness that sets you apart from the distracted, disconnected noise that surrounds most interactions. Desire lives in the unconscious. It doesn't always announce itself with bold moves or spoken words. It reveals itself in micro-expressions, in the way her eyes widen just slightly when she looks at you, in the way she unconsciously leans in when you speak, in the way her lips part ever so slightly when you hold eye contact a few seconds longer. These are the tells of a mind giving in to a moment, and to recognize them, you must slow yourself down, not physically, mentally. You must be so grounded in your own presence that you can feel the subtle shifts in her energy without reaching for meaning. When you stop needing confirmation, you start noticing truth. Most men look for loud signs. They miss the silence. They miss the stillness where her attraction begins to rise without effort. But the man who can feel the weight of a glance, who can sense the tension in a pause, who can hear the message in a breath, that man becomes unforgettable. Because he sees what others don't. He listens without sound. He connects beyond the surface. And when you can do that, a woman feels something in your presence she can't explain, but doesn't want to lose. That's the moment her guard begins to fall, not because of your charm, but because of your clarity. The physical signs aren't there to be analyzed. They're there to be felt, to be received, to be understood without being forced. When she breathes differently around you, when her eyes soften, when her energy slows, she's not nervous, she's open. She's in the emotional space where intimacy becomes possible, but only if you meet her there without disturbing the moment. The wrong move here is eagerness. The right move is stillness. Let her body speak. Let your energy respond, not react. Let the air between you thicken with presence until it becomes undeniable. Because when you stop demanding signals and start reading them, you step into a higher awareness of human connection. You don't guess, you sense. You don't chase, you attract. And when you tune into the body's language, you'll see that the signs were always there, waiting for you to slow down long enough to truly notice. That's the power of presence. That's the edge of the emotionally awake man. When a woman finds reasons to be alone with you, she's not doing it by chance. She's creating space, emotional and physical, for something unspoken to unfold. She's giving the moment a container where masks fall and presence deepens. That invitation may come quietly, a casual suggestion, a spontaneous shift, a shared exit from the group. But behind it is intention. She's saying without words, I want to be seen by you, without distractions, without noise. And if you can hear that message beneath the surface, you'll understand what most men miss. That proximity is never just logistics, it's permission. This is where attention becomes your greatest tool. Not effort, not force, just clear, calm attention. When she moves closer and subtly separates from the crowd, she's not just making small talk, she's opening a doorway. And how you step into that moment will reveal everything. If you treat it lightly, she closes off. If you rush in with expectation, she recoils. But if you meet her with presence, if you slow down instead of speeding up, her energy expands. That's the balance most never master, to hold your desire in check without suppressing it, to feel the pull without trying to control the pace. That's emotional strength, and it's magnetic. The truth is, intimacy needs room to breathe. It cannot survive in chaos or distraction. When she removes the noise, when she finds an excuse to stand beside you, to walk away with you, to share just a few minutes in silence, it's because she wants to feel something real. She wants to know who you are beneath the surface. And she wants to be known, without performance, without interruption. That moment is not about seduction, it's about awareness. And if you can hold space for that energy without diluting it, everything begins to shift. You don't need clever words. You don't need tactics. You need presence. You need to let your stillness speak louder than noise ever could. That's what calms her. That's what signals strength. And in that shared space, when everything slows down, she begins to feel her own desire surface. Not because you pushed it, but because you allowed it. You didn't chase the moment, you honored it. And that, more than anything, is what separates the boy from the man. The boy tries to prove himself. The man knows that who he is in silence is enough. So when she creates space for just the two of you, recognize it for what it is. A gesture of trust, an unspoken test, a subtle offering. Be still, be sharp, be fully there. Let the silence stretch, let the air thicken. Let her feel that you don't need to escape the moment. Because when you can hold space without needing to fill it, she feels it too. And that's when connection deepens. That's when attraction roots itself in something real. And that's when she knows, without doubt, that you are a man who sees what others can't. When she begins to tease you playfully, it's not childish, it's charged. Beneath the jokes, the light sarcasm, the subtle challenges, lives an invitation to emotional intimacy cloaked in humor. Teasing, when it's warm and personal, is her way of breaking the ice without exposing too much. It's a safe dance, a spark testing the air between you to see if you can handle closeness without cracking. If you understand this for what it is, you won't take it lightly. You'll feel the depth behind the smile, because she's not trying to offend, she's trying to connect. The man who gets thrown off by this never sees the opportunity. He becomes defensive or confused. But the man who's steady, relaxed, playful in return, that man draws her in deeper. Because he doesn't just receive her words, he feels the current underneath. She teases not to belittle, but to see if you're emotionally agile. If you can stay open without retreating. If you can meet her energy with confidence, not control. That moment is not about who's funnier, it's about who's freer. And the freer you are, the more she leans in. Playful teasing reveals a hidden truth. Attraction is often born in contrast. In the tension between bold and soft, assertive and relaxed, challenge and surrender. And teasing plays with that tension. It keeps the energy alive. It invites response, not reaction. When she lightly mocks your seriousness or exaggerates something about you or gives you a clever nickname, it's not disrespect. It's intimacy seeking expression through lightness. She wants to see if the connection has enough strength to carry laughter, enough depth to hold joy. And this is where your presence becomes everything. You don't fight back. You don't collapse. You let it move through you, like music, like rhythm. You respond not with ego, but with energy. You play back, not to win, but to dance. And when she feels that lightness in you, something relaxes in her. Because now she knows you're not just stable, you're alive. You can handle heat without needing to control it. You can enjoy her without trying to possess her. You can laugh without needing to prove yourself. Attraction isn't always serious. Sometimes it's playful, chaotic, even mischievous. But underneath it, there's always a search for truth. Her teasing is not about games, it's about freedom. The freedom to be expressive, spontaneous, unrehearsed. And if you can meet her there, if you can hold your masculine frame while letting her energy dance around it, she will feel something rare. She will feel seen and safe at the same time. And that, more than charm or tactics, is what creates emotional ignition. So when she teases, smile with your eyes, let it land. Let it live. Because in those light moments, heavy truths hide. And when you're attuned enough to notice, you stop chasing connection and start embodying it. Not by force, but by understanding the unspoken language behind every playful word. When a woman lingers in conversation long after the topic has run its course, she's not holding on to words, she's holding on to connection. She doesn't need more information. She's not trying to fill silence, she's prolonging presence. That extra time, that extended moment is not accidental. It's intentional. It's her way of saying, I'm not ready to disconnect from this energy. When she finds reasons to keep talking, to stretch the interaction just a little longer, she's revealing something most men miss. She's showing that she feels something in your presence that makes time irrelevant. This is where emotional awareness becomes crucial. You must learn to feel beneath the surface of what's being said. The topic doesn't matter anymore. It's not about the story, the opinion, or the question. It's about how she feels while talking to you. It's about the safety, the warmth, the emotional invitation that's opened without a single direct statement. When she chooses to stay, when she lingers, when she's slow to say goodbye, that's the signal. That's the moment you don't rush. Because right there, something quiet but powerful is unfolding. Too many men get impatient. They try to steer the moment. They try to push for clarity or escalate too quickly. But the man who understands the depth of lingering doesn't move. He doesn't try to complete the moment. He lets it stretch. He allows the silence to breathe. He doesn't rush to the next step because he knows the magic is happening in the now. And in doing so, he becomes the anchor, the emotional center that makes her feel understood without explanation. Lingering is her way of staying close without making it obvious. It's emotional proximity disguised as casual conversation. She may circle back to a point already made. She might ask a question she already knows the answer to, not because she's lost in the dialogue, but because she's found something in your energy she wants to stay near. And when you recognize that, when you stop trying to make something happen and instead become fully present with what is happening, everything shifts. She relaxes even more. The moment deepens, her guard lowers. And now, you're no longer just talking, you're connecting. This is where attraction grows roots, not in performance, not in tactics, in those soft, unspoken spaces between words, in the way your eyes stay on hers a little longer, in the calm that lives in your voice, in the energy that says, I'm not going anywhere. When you give her that, she feels it. And the moment she feels it, she wants more of it. Not because you said the perfect thing, but because you made her feel fully accepted without needing to impress you. So when she stays longer than necessary, don't analyze. Don't rush. Be there, steady, attuned, still, because the longer she stays, the louder the truth becomes, and the man who can sit in that truth without flinching becomes the one she won't want to leave. When she starts asking personal questions that go deeper than surface-level curiosity, she's not just gathering facts, she's exploring the space where emotional intimacy lives. She's signaling interest in the layers beneath your image beyond what others see. When she asks what drives you, what scares you, what moments shaped who you are, she's not making small talk. She's gently knocking on the doors you don't open for everyone. Because what she's looking for is not information, it's resonance. She wants to know if there's substance behind the presence, and more importantly, she wants to know if you're willing to be seen. This is not the time to perform or recite rehearsed answers. It's the time to show up with truth. The strength of your masculinity isn't measured by how stoic you are. It's measured by how honest you can be without losing your grounding. When she asks what you regret, what you hope for, what you've overcome, she's not looking for perfection. She's looking for emotional reality, for authenticity. And when you offer it calmly, without dramatizing, without shrinking, something in her shifts, because now she sees that your depth is real, that your confidence isn't just built on outer control, but on inner clarity. Most men either overshare to impress or deflect to avoid, but the man who can hold space for himself, who can reveal his truth without fear, without shame, becomes magnetic on a level words can't explain. Because vulnerability, when rooted in strength, is irresistible. It tells her that you are not hiding, that you are not afraid of your own story, and when you're not afraid of your story, she knows she won't need to be afraid of hers. That's where true emotional safety begins. So when she asks personal questions, don't treat them lightly. She's listening not just to what you say, but to how you say it. Is your voice steady? Are your eyes clear? Are your words aligned with your energy? Every answer you give is an opportunity to reveal your presence, not just your past. Let her feel your truth, not as a confession, but as ownership. Let her see that your experiences don't define you, but they've refined you. And when she sees that, her curiosity becomes trust. This kind of connection doesn't happen through charm. It happens through congruence, through the alignment of your words, your tone, your energy. When you respond to her with calm depth, when you don't flinch from emotional honesty, you give her something few men can. You give her a glimpse into a man who knows himself, who accepts himself, who doesn't perform for connection, but creates it through presence. So don't fear her questions. Embrace them. Not as challenges, but as gifts. Because when a woman wants to know who you are beyond the mask, she's not testing you, she's choosing you. And if you can meet that choice with truth, you unlock a kind of intimacy that no game, no line, no tactic will ever reach. When a woman begins to touch you gently and frequently, even in subtle ways, she's expressing something far more meaningful than habit or coincidence. Touch is one of the most primal and powerful signals of emotional closeness. It's instinctive, it's intuitive. And when she initiates it, even softly, A hand on your arm, a brush against your side, a playful nudge. She's not just reaching out physically, she's extending an invitation. Her body is speaking before her mind decides, because in that space, she no longer needs to measure every action. She's following feeling. This kind of touch doesn't come from obligation or social norms. It comes from comfort. It comes from trust. And it comes from a rising internal permission to close the distance. When she chooses to initiate contact, especially when it's brief yet repeated, what she's really saying is, I feel safe enough to get close. And that's not random. It's a direct response to the energy you bring. If your presence is grounded, stable, calm, if it carries no pressure, no push, then her touch becomes relaxed, spontaneous, and sincere. Your role isn't to overthink it or analyze every gesture. Your role is to feel the difference between accidental contact and intentional closeness. The energy behind her touch tells you everything. Is it lingering? Is it soft yet deliberate? Does it create a subtle shift in the air? When a woman is physically drawn to you, her body speaks without needing permission, and the way she touches you reveals how safe she feels dropping her guard. The more she trusts the space between you, the more her instincts take over. That's when the gestures become intimate, natural, free of filters. If you respond with awareness, without grabbing, rushing, or escalating, you strengthen the signal. You reinforce her sense that this moment is real, that her openness won't be taken advantage of. That you are not just another man who sees touch as an opportunity to dominate, but as a signal to deepen presence. That restraint isn't hesitation, it's control. And control creates safety. Safety amplifies attraction. And attraction becomes connection when it's held with respect. Touch is communication. It's her way of letting you feel what she might not yet say out loud. And if you're attuned, you'll receive it without expectation. You'll recognize that something sacred is unfolding, not in words, but in the language of closeness. And that's where real emotional chemistry ignites, in the space where no one is performing, where no one is pretending, where two energies meet and respond without a script. So when her touch becomes frequent, gentle, and intentional, recognize the depth beneath the gesture. Don't just feel it on your skin, feel it in your awareness. Let it ground you. Let it calm you. Let it guide you to meet her where she already is, because in those small moments of contact, something greater is being communicated, and the man who listens with presence will always understand what others overlook. When a woman starts sharing parts of her life that are deeply personal, memories, wounds, moments of pain or longing, she isn't just reminiscing, she's opening. She's stepping out from behind her emotional armor to let you see the parts of her that are most real, the parts that are most tender. This is not casual. This is sacred. It means something within her has registered that your presence feels safe enough to risk exposure, that being seen by you no longer feels threatening, but freeing. And when that happens, it's never a test. It's a reveal. The strength of a man is not in how well he speaks. It's in how deeply he listens. When she shares her pain, your silence speaks louder than advice. Your calm presence says more than any solution. She's not looking for someone to fix her past. She's looking for someone who won't run from it, someone who can hear the truth and remain steady. That emotional steadiness is what sets you apart, because most people flinch at realness. Most retreat when it's no longer light, when the conversation turns to fear, heartbreak, regret. But if you can stay open, still, and present, you show her that her vulnerability isn't too much. And that in itself is healing. When she begins to confide in you, understand what she's giving you, access to her emotional world. And access is not granted to everyone. It's earned through consistency, through presence, through the way your energy makes her feel safe without even needing words. If you rush through that moment, if you shift the subject, if you respond with anything other than patience and groundedness, you send the message that depth isn't welcome. But when you remain present, when your stillness matches her intensity, you give her something most men can't, emotional containment. That doesn't mean you absorb her pain or take it on. It means you witness it without turning away. You hear her story and offer her your full attention, not to solve, but to hold. You don't try to rewrite it. You don't rescue her. You simply stay fully, with no flinching, no judgment, just quiet strength. That's what opens her further. That's what allows her to feel closeness that isn't dependent on pleasure, but on truth. And truth, when shared without fear, becomes a bridge. A woman's heart doesn't unfold from pressure. It opens from presence. The kind of presence that can hold space for pain without retreat. The kind that honors emotional honesty not as a weakness, but as a gift. And when you can receive that gift with grace, with steady energy and deep respect, you become unforgettable. Because you didn't just touch her body, you touched her soul. And long after the conversation ends, it's that feeling she remembers. The feeling of being fully seen and fully safe, in a moment where everything inside her said yes. When she mirrors your energy, your tone, your body language, your rhythm of speaking, it's not coincidence. It's connection. Human beings mirror those they feel emotionally aligned with. But when a woman does it in your presence, it's more than subconscious imitation. It's a reflection of how attuned she's becoming to you. Her nervous system is syncing with yours. Her energy is harmonizing with your frequency.